Retirement is often a period of great stress and anxiety to most people, especially since they're not going to get their regular paycheck hitting their bank. Now, friends, from a financial standpoint, retirement planning is a very, very important step. And over the next couple of weeks, that's exactly what we are going to cover up to give you more insights on retirement planning, some of the myths, some of the mistakes that people make while approaching this subject are all what we're going to be covering over the next few weeks. But first up, what is retirement? What does constitute retirement, and what do we mean when we talk about retirement? Retirement is nothing but a state when one is not necessarily having to go to work to enjoy a certain cash flow. Post-retirement, most people would love to do what they're passionate about without having to have money worries. Now that, my friend, is state of being retired. As more and more people look at reaching that state, few of them are confused about what are the options of how they can generate a certain amount of cash flow even though they're not getting to work on a daily morning. That's what we're going to talk about in our episode today. And the next question is, why must one plan for retirement? Right? That's the question many of us have. Friends, if you are having a lifestyle expense that is about ₹1 lakh a month today, at a conservative inflation rate of 5%, even assuming you spend the same amount of money and your needs were exactly the same, you would need ₹1,62,000 plus at the end of 10 years for the same set of expenses. So, irrespective of not increasing your expenditure at all, the same expenses for you will need an additional amount of ₹62,500. That's because inflation is eroding the purchase power of your money. There are two very, very critical aspects as to why one needs to look at planning for retirement. First up, friends, we live in a world of great technological obsolescence. Things are changing very fast. What is relevant 5 years ago no longer holds goods. And that's true of our careers as well. While in the past, people worked for 30, 40-year long careers, today it's no longer true. Careers can be as short as a decade and a half at most. Which means that either the field that you're working in has become technologically obsolescent, or you may simply lose interest in working. So both ways, careers are getting short. Already, I am seeing that people above the age of 50 are finding it very difficult to retain their corporate chair. I guess going forward, that's going to change further lower down, which means that 10 years down, you will see more people at 40, 45 retiring than ever before. So the earlier you retire means you need to have a plan in place much earlier. That's the first. The second need to plan comes from the fact that arguably no time in history of mankind have people lived so long. Yes, my friend. Most likely you and me are going to live to a ripe old age of 90 plus in all probability, which means that if you retire at say 40, 45 and you live to an age of 90, you need to have a robust plan to ensure the money stands with you for that long. It's not going to be easy given that inflation is eroding into the capital like I mentioned, but that's precisely why you need to have a inflation impacted retirement plan in place. When must one start their retirement plan? That's the other question that I get often asked. Ideally, I think you must do your first retirement based investment the day you receive your first paycheck. That's the ideal scenario. Having said that, and a lot of us don't do that, I think you need to give yourself a 20-year window. As per my experience, what I have noticed is that if you give yourself a 20-year head start in planning your retirement, then you're okay, you're pretty comfortable in reaching that goalpost. What do I mean by a 20-year head start? Assuming you wanted to retire at the age of 50, then my suggestion is take your retirement planning serious at the age of 30. Give yourself that 20-year period to build your corpus to reach that point. That's what I mean. Now, why is the 20-year important and why not a shorter period? And let me give you an example. If you wanted to reach a corpus of say 2 crores over a 20-year period and average it at about 12% of return over that period, just as an example, you'd need about 20,000 rupees going into your investment on a month-on-month basis. So any investment, say a simple SIP kind of a product, could generate a corpus of 2 crores over a 20-year period if you just did 20,000. Now, let's just kind of look at a scenario where instead of 20, you just wanted to have a 10-year period to create the same 2 crores with the same rate of 12% return. Guess what the amount you will need? You will need 86,000 rupees per month. Now, what is 20,000 rupees suddenly changes and becomes 4 times more at 86,000. So every time the time period comes down, the amount that one needs to invest goes disproportionately up. It's not the same proportion, it goes disproportionately up. Therefore, my thought process is the time to start your retirement planning needs to be as early as you can, not later. How much should one be investing for a comfortable retirement? Ideally, the way a cash flow cookie crumbles is for every 100 rupees that one receives, 25 rupees will go towards their household needs, 25 towards their EMIs and so on, 25 towards taxes, and the last 25 should go in some form of saving and investment. This is a very rule of thumb kind of a statement, which means one needs to start at least at a 25% savings to start with. Having said that, retirement is a silver bullet, which means that there is no coming back from there. Therefore, my recommendation would be to do a more diligent homework of what your needs are, do a calculation, and then come back with the exact number, not just go with the 25%. 25% may be a good place to start with, but as you go closer, as you're about 20 years away from your goal post, my suggestion is do a diligent homework and arrive at that number. That will be very, very important and a useful tip for you to make sure you're heading in the right direction, in the right quantum. So these are the questions that commonly crop up for all of us when it comes to retirement planning. And my thought is that the earlier one starts planning and thinking about retirement planning, the better it is for them.